made new friends and kept the old. Some are silver and the other are gold. So it was a wonderful experience. We will be doing some talking tonight about some various things taking place in the party, and I will comment on those at the appropriate time. But let's not see ourselves as beat up. All right, and if we are, well, okay, it's time to get over. It's time to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got work to do, and we've got 2 years in which to get it done. And I want to give a special shout out to my home city of Detroit, who I understand had 48% turnout. Now, we always shoot for 100, but I know of elections where we didn't reach 20. And I believe the only time we had a higher turnout, we had 50% of President Obama ran the first time. So for Detroit to come out 48% strong, hey, in the house. And so I think that we need to build on that, not let that number go down. We need to brag on it, and that will be part of rebuilding our structures. So thank you so very much.
That was Judge Deborah Thomas.
All right, thank you, Judge Thomas. Next, I want to bring up a man who really needs no introduction. He's a precinct delegate, been in the grassroots community for a number of years, probably as long as I've been alive. Bill Leach.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Bill Leach. I'm an active member of the 13th Congressional District. A lot of things I was talking about, it applies to all the districts, but my focus, my laser focus, is on the 13th Congressional District. We have, on February 4th, a state of Michigan Democratic Party meeting. It's at Comer Hall, it's in the odd years. This is to choose who will be the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. Also, who would be the chair of the Democratic District. Now, everybody in here should know what district they're in. And if you don't know, you need to talk to one of us to find out what district you're in. Now, I said before, most of the people in the district, they're in leadership positions, but they don't know nothing. They got there because nobody else wanted to run. It's like anything else. If you don't step up to do the job, if you don't step up to run for city council, like you did, if you don't step up to run for county commissioner, then the bum's gonna step up. The first thing you say is, how did you get in office? They got in office because you didn't do nothing. All right? Now let me tell you about campaign. I gave out 2 pieces of literature. I want to tell you about campaign. Most people you meet, they act like they know how to do a campaign. They don't, which is why they lose. And as you can see, in the state of Michigan, Hillary Clinton lost because she don't know how to run a campaign. She lost the primary to Bernie Sanders. And then she lost it to Trump because she had no issue, no message, no vision.
Right.
Her whole thing was, vote for me because I'm a woman. Now, wouldn't it be stupid I get up and say, vote for me because I'm a man? All of you would look at me like I was stupid. What is your issue? What do you stand for? What's your platform? Now, let me tell you something. The people, I'm talking about black people, go around, Hillary, Hillary, and ask them, what does Hillary stand for? I don't know. Her husband was the president once, you know. Her husband made sure black men went to jail more often. Maybe that's why the black men didn't vote for her.
Nope.
Just like other men didn't vote for her. You gotta have an issue. You gotta have a platform. You have to have an agenda, which she didn't have. Now, this other man may be a crazy man, but he said what he's gonna do. Whether he can do it or not is a different thing. All right? I'm gonna build a wall. I'm gonna make sure rest all the Muslims from other countries, we throwing them out. He says a lot of things. And the people who cheered him are the same people who've been cheering that type of rhetoric for years. As us being in this country, we know what type of people they are. We're gonna make America great again. They know what that meant. Put them Negroes in their place. They've been running wild. Okay? Right. We can't beat them like we used to. Where do you get those cell phones from? Now, we've been saying this for dozens of years, for decades. Nobody believed us. Oh, it's not that bad, y'all making it up. So they got the phone and showed them. And the first one that came out was what happened in LA, when those police officers beat the long black guy on the ground, and then when they had a trial, they were found not guilty. That's right. But all this stuff happens because we are an unorganized people. It takes organization to win. But we think it's just going to happen la-di-da. That's not the way the world works. You have to work for something to happen. It doesn't just happen. Now, there's been one thing that says 90,000 black people did not vote in Detroit this year than 4 years ago. They're going to be the same ones going to complain about what's been happening, but you didn't vote. You can't just vote because Obama's on the ballot. What's the issue? You have to be out there each and every time. I'm going to give you an example that happened in Michigan. England ran for governor. He said, when I become governor, I'm going to knock off 50,000 people that's on GA, General Assistance. Do you know how much England won by in that year? Something like 13,000. 50,000 people was wiped off. If those 50,000 people had voted, they had kept him going. You got to vote for your own interest. If you're going to be on welfare, you got to vote for somebody to say, okay, you can stay on welfare. So when you don't vote for your own interest, you fail miserably. And everybody around the world looking at us like we're stupid. Because a lot of people can't vote. And if you raise your voice, they put you in prison. You know, the song Gates of Paradise said, if you get out of place, they give you a case. And that's true. Whether it's Jim Mark Benson, Nat Turner, and anything else, when they decide not to accept something, they're going to give you a case. We'll show you. But each one of us in this room know 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people who don't vote. But when things go wrong, they call you to help. Can you help me? I know you know those people downtown. Okay? Your sister is a court clerk. Can she help? No. Nobody can cut through the stuff like that. Now, I gave you 2 sheets. One of them is about being a campaign manager. A person who's a precinct delegate is a campaign manager of his district or her district. That's their job. There's 490 precincts in Detroit. If you learn how to be a campaign manager of one district, you can be of 10, 20, 30, 50. It's all the same. Once you learn how to do one, it spreads out. And you'll be surprised what you can do. Now, a lot of people don't want you to learn because we got the people who's in positions, they can't do nothing, but they don't want you to know they can't do nothing. Okay? To a first grader, a third grader is a genius. but not to a sixth grader. And the more you learn, the more you'll see how incompetent some of these people are. Now I want to talk about, it says on the paper, look for a campaign where a person won that nobody expected to win. So I'm going to tell you about Bruce Priestley. He used to always talk to people. When I came to Detroit in 1994, there was an election going on for county commissioner. There was 5 candidates running. A. Cherry was supported by Coleman Young. Councilman Curry was supported by his wife. Another person who used to be a county commissioner, she was running again. A guy was the son of the chief judge of 36th District Court. And there was one woman running who nobody expected to do anything, because they said she couldn't talk. She couldn't get her words together. So they just dismissed her. When the ballot was counted, the one that they said couldn't talk, she won. That was your way. And so what you need is to find out, how did she win? They're talking about who ran the campaign. Of course, I'm not going to tell nobody who ran the campaign. But you might think I'm bragging. So what I'm saying is, if you learn this, you can have your own candidate. Let me tell you something. Politicians bow down to precinct delegates. They hate to meet them. Because if you're active, they know you can get rid of them. As soon as they see that you can control your district, you control the next district, the people, you make the people, you go to them and say, take this line aside. They say, okay, I know you. You come around, you bring me the information, you talk to me. They're going to listen to you. You know, some people say, we never see them except when they run for election. Where the worst person are the judges. Now, all of you are voting for judges, you don't know nothing about them. What did they do in court? You can't say what they did. You can't say what they stand for. Now, Deborah Thomas, I know what she stands for. She goes around to different areas speaking about things. All right? So I know what she stands for. And she was on the East Side Slate, where I am a member, and she was on there gratis. That means she didn't have to pay, because she pays her dues all the time. But the others, they aren't about nothing. They beg to get on, and they have to pay. We just take the better of the worst. Because if you can't tell what a judge has been doing, I'm going to give you another one. Craig Strong. He always at the Black Affairs. With the United Negro College Fund, the African American Museum, the NAACP. If you can't see your elected officials, you don't need to have them in office. Get rid of them. Now, I want to talk about another thing. The next one, the major criteria. Because we will have elections coming up, I said in February, the state party, and they will be judged by who will be running the districts. Who will be the chair, the executive vice chair, the secretary, the treasurer. Who will be on the executive board? Who will be on the state central committee? This is what you're going to have to be voting for in your own congressional district. And you should know the people who voted, who want to hold those offices. Now, of course, I'm in the 13th district, I'm putting together a slate. And I tell people who want to be on the state central committee, that's the policy committee. That's the issues committee. That's the platform committee. And I want more passionate people to be about it. I don't want somebody saying, okay, I don't have no place to go. No. If you're not passionate about something, you don't need to be on anything.
Real quick, how many people in here have heard of the State Central Committee for Michigan Democratic Party? Show of hands. How many people have heard of the State Central Committee for the Michigan Democratic Party? Show of hands. Okay, so momentarily we're going to go through and explain what they are and how you get elected. Sorry.
It's okay. So, to me, if you're in the 13th district, there's 13 cities, and we put this thing together, if you want to be a part of it. But I want you to read what it says. The major criteria, can you do the job? And I'll say it again, can you do the job?
Yeah.
Are you in the 13th district?
No, he's working.
Oh, okay.
You live down the street from me. Oh, no, he got switched.
Now, are you willing to put in the time, the energy, and the resources into the office? The third thing is, are you willing to learn? You can come in not know anything, but if you're willing to learn, you will learn how to do the job correctly. Anybody have a question for me as I sit down? Okay, thank you.
All right, so, a lot of people love Bill. He's done a lot of great work. So, just real quick, a little caveat, shameless plug. You want to do this?
I just want to say something about the bill.
Go ahead, so we can move on.
The bill, if you really want to know politics, you really need to bug the bill people. You really don't like people very much. No, but he is just one of the smartest people I know. Anybody who's running, they always say, I'm working with this guy, and it always ends with the bill. Like, it's the bill. And I'm like, oh, man. But yeah.
So now, like,
you want to talk about this?
on there, like, on December 15th, we are honoring a whole bunch of unsung heroes, and one of them is the Bill Leach. So you'll get more information about that. So
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in my district.
all right, so next we'll bring up, Shauna Gill, and we're going to talk about what's next. And the important reason why is because of what Judge Deborah Thomas and the bill just said. You know, we look back at this election, and we're all wondering, I mean, I literally, my head was spinning for a week after this election, because I'm trying to figure out where did we go wrong? And it became even more concerning to me because we lost Michigan, of all places.
Yep.
And we only lost by 10,000 votes, which means that might have been one extra day of everybody putting in another hour. Phone calls and door knocking. One extra day, one extra hour from every volunteer. It was that hard.
She works for Wayne County Clerk. She is the reason why most of us are precinct delegates. So she is a big part of this organization. She couldn't be here today. She's doing something for SCIU, Lori Parks. Next. Who we are? Malia Howard does our fantastic trainings. And who sat through a class with Malia Howard? Raise your hand. Yeah. Did you enjoy the class with Malia Howard? She's very, very in tune, and she takes her time, and she pays attention to detail. Next slide. Who's next? Oh, Amy Mae Hope. She is a super precinct delegate. Throughout this past election, starting to build Hillary Clinton. I worked for Hillary Clinton this year. I was one of those. And she came out and she helped me be #1 in the state. We'll talk about that later. Next, Melody Hine. She is our regional event specialist for Westland. She was Precinct Delegate of the Year 2 years ago. Next. He's here. He is our regional event specialist, Wayne County, but he's Romulus. So he works with us to do events within Romulus and all that good stuff, and connects us to all the precinct delegates in Romulus so they can have all the great information. Next. Taylor, young girl, which I'm just blown away by because she's young, she stepped right in, and she's bringing in the youth connecting us with the youth for the precinct delegates throughout colleges and all that great stuff. Next. On Roper, he's in the back. He is Washtenaw County, and he's our regional event specialist. We have trainings in Washtenaw as well. We have one coming up in Monroe County, so we go through different counties. Next. Future precinct delegates. This group is for everybody, anybody who wants to be involved with anything. And Ida is super amazing. She shows up, she works, she puts in the time. She did not want to become a precinct delegate this year because she said she wanted to hang around us and see what we actually do. She wanted to learn it before she ran for it, even though we tried to convince her just to do it. But next. Ken Snap is another young guy he's not a precinct delegate, he's a future precinct delegate, but he focuses on the young people and help us bring the young people, which we have an event here, is a meeting with the young people, future precinct delegates, and it's like 140 people RSVP for his Bridging the Gap. I can email the flyer out to you guys. So, next. That's the last one. Types of classes we offer. The basic class, which tells the history and what is your job. And the great Malia teaches all of these classes. We want Nabil to do a class. Voter engagement, that was big this past election, which helps us get a lot of precinct delegates involved with knocking doors, and we'll talk about that a little later. But the voter engagement teaches you about GLTV, precinct maps, canvassing, how to canvass your neighborhood, all that good stuff. Writing legislative policy. Malia just thinks it's so important that you guys learn it. And when you RSVP, everybody click, they want to learn how to write legislative policy. So we have to have one of those classes. Working campaigns, Nabil spoke to that, and becoming a candidate, because most precinct delegates want to go further and run for office, and we help them do that. And all these classes are free, by the way. So, next. Our mission statement.
Our mission statement is to support and promote precinct delegates in the state of Michigan, addressing the political concerns of precinct delegates and their community, and educating them about current political issues so they can share with their communities. Our immediate goal is to develop a strong precinct delegate infrastructure at the state level. This will allow us to focus our efforts on generating community empowerment and forming political policies, which will assist us in improving education, public transportation, healthcare resources, and crime prevention in our communities. And just one caveat, I know that she mentioned something about writing public policy, but yesterday I was in Benton Harbor, and we're sort of trying to start this, starting this tour, which we'll talk about later. But yesterday we were in Benton Harbor, and one thing that I think everyone in the state of Michigan needs to be looking at is jury selection and that process. And there is policy there, and there was a young man from Grand Rapids who's a former county commissioner who I believe is good at public policy, but probably doesn't get the credit that he's due. Paul Mayhew. And just from him working out of Grand Rapids, doing the research and doing the work, he worked with a state rep from Detroit to get policy implemented to change and fix jury selection process so African Americans and Hispanic speaking Americans are included in the jury selection pools more often. Right now it's a huge problem in Michigan that we don't have enough minorities in the jury selection pool all over the state, not just in Wayne County but all other counties. And so learning how to write policy is important because just as a precinct delegate, you can help implement policy. That's the kind of power that you have. So, it is important to attend those classes.
What is a precinct delegate? Like I said, when you registered, most of you didn't know. You wanted to know what it was. So, the role of a precinct delegate is this is my favorite part. The role of a precinct delegate is one of the most important yet least understood of any elected office, but it's the most important. You are the grassroots of the election process. Al, next. Your job is to, which we're going, the main thing about today, is to vote at the Democratic Party, state, county, and congressional district convention. Help Democrats get registered to vote. We did that this past election. Take information, issues, and candidates to the voters in your precinct. Identify other Democrats and recruit new party members. Help turn out the Democratic vote in your neighborhood on election day. Keep Democrat leaders informed about the issues that concern your voters. Yes?
I just want to interject really quickly. My name is Malia Howard. I'm a precinct delegate, proud and strong. How many people in here are members of the Michigan Democratic Party, card-carrying members? Okay, for those of you who are not, I have an application for you tonight. It is a free membership. I will have you fill it out. Please don't leave until you fill it out, because all of this information is going to be moot. You are not a member of the Democratic Party. Okay? So please do not leave. Stay here, and I'll have you fill out this application.
Oh, she just brought it up. Okay. Our Michigan Democratic Party chair is Precinct Delegates. Next. We can talk about that later. Precinct Delegates, we have 14 congressional districts. Next slide. The clicker's not working, Malia. You can clicker. This is the agenda. Election update, short history, very short history. District and state convention, 14 congressional district update, and Donald will give you an update, and then special announcements. Al, next. Election results. So this one I said I will get to this. This is a tweet. This is a text message that I received. I did work for Hillary Clinton this summer. And it was many of you in this room that helped me out. Like him over here in the corner in the red. Okay, so when they say we registered over 8,000 voters just in my area, which was Region 18, I had Dearborn, Brownstown, New Boston, everything that went downriver. Right here, Red, stand up. He was one of the precinct delegates, and a couple more people here that helped us reach 8,000 registered votes. We also, this is me, and Tanisha, this was my super volunteer. We did over 200,000 calls, 17 GOTV walk shifts. Okay, I have more volunteers than any other person in Michigan. I knocked more doors than any other person in Michigan. And that was because of this group, our precinct delegate group. Like they all came out strong. We knocked over 150 doors. I had Dearborn. We raised Dearborn voting rate to 62%. We flipped Brownstown area out there who had a Republican state rep, and it's Darren now. So nobody thought he could win, he won. So Hillary didn't win, but precinct delegates showed their strength and what we can do. And they were shocked because when I first started, they was like, precinct delegates, they were out of town, they were like, what? Oh no. I said, maybe you should talk to the precinct delegates and ask them to get them involved and pay them. They didn't, what is that? Who is that? What? No. So when I started getting all these volunteers, it was like crazy. And in the end, they couldn't get any volunteers, but all the precinct delegates just found their way to local 600 in Dearborn, and they came from Detroit, everywhere, just to help me. And then I started getting other people packets and walk shifts and basically walked our whole Region 18. It was crazy. I was happy, but it was crazy. Next. And so we'll do a very, very short history so we can catch up now.
All right, yeah, we can talk a little bit about history. I know a lot of people have heard this before, so if you have any questions, that's fine. Instead of going, through the history, I thought that I'd do something a little bit different today. I got a good friend here by the name of Christine Jensen, who's been involved in the party for a year. And I wanted her, and before we get to the convention, I just want her to sort of give her
moved when I moved to this area about 2008, the year that President Obama worked hard on that election. It was a big year. And I was very proud of the fact that our area in Beverly Hills, which had traditionally been very red, kind of Brooks Patterson territory, actually voted and came out for President Obama. And to stay active and to stay in the community and to stay organized and invested in the area, that next year, 2010, I ran for Precinct Delegate. Part of the reason was I did it was because I realized that in South Carolina, there were no Democrat Precinct Delegates elected. Now, all of a sudden, in my precinct, where we couldn't have them before because we did well, your delegates, you're limited by the number. We could have one Democrat precinct delegate. All of a sudden, there was 3 slots because the Democrats had performed well. And so, since we did that, we wanted to fill it. So I ran and became a precinct delegate then, and still holding the ground. So since then, I stayed in politics and managed campaigns in Wayne County and Oakland County, and I actually work a lot with the 14th district. They're on my 14th district here. And so I manage your congresswoman. How many are 14 in here? Yeah, I manage the Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence's campaign. The last 2 times she ran, and I was her district director. But now I am, since this regrouping that we're doing, I am back in the streets doing what I do, trying to dig up all these Democrats, because like everybody else, I'm like, what the hell just happened in this year? Oh my God, we have a governor race coming, we got a senator race coming.
Right.
I said, we cannot start early enough to get our collective, you know what, together in this state. Right? So
yeah, because we don't really control anything in this anymore. And I think that's a problem. And so on that note, you know, the history, I'll speak a little bit about it, the history of precinct delegates. The power of it is important. You know, there have been elections when precinct delegates really have showed their power and made things happen. On the state level and the presidential level. I think I mentioned before, in 1988, there was a presidential election, and precinct delegates in Detroit wielded a lot of power. In 1988, the presidential primary, Michigan was the only state that one person won, and I think, and the bill will tell you, it was because of the power of the precinct delegates, especially here in the city of Detroit. Who won that election in 1988 in the bill?
Jesse Jackson.
Primary. Jesse Jackson. State of Michigan. He won. Here we go, Donald Trump in 2016. What a turn event. I mean, for real. Opposite of the end of the spectrum is that. But that's the kind of power that they yield. So powerful that I can remember there was a chairman by the name of Mark Brewer. He was the longest serving chair in the history of the party. There was a year when precinct delegates were growing in numbers and in power and trying to take over the party. There was an opportunity to unseat the longest serving chairman in the state of Michigan, really in the country. You know what he did? Change the rules. Change the bylaws. Because precinct delegates had so much power. He then opened the floor of voting in the party, in the Michigan Democratic Party, to any member. You don't have to just be a precinct delegate. If you are elected precinct delegate, you are more powerful than you think, but you can only use that power if you work it. If you don't, we end up losing. If you don't do nothing as a precinct delegate, if you don't organize your community, we end up losing. So you not only have a job and a responsibility, but you have a calling, really, to help out and help improve the quality of life for others. You know, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about the upcoming state convention in February. You know, it's extremely important that everybody in here participates. Extremely important. It's February 11th at Cobo. Here in the state of Michigan, the Michigan Democratic Party, we have a voting system.
yes.
Our voting system is based on, James?
We're getting to the point while we're here, the most important part.
Right, and so in Detroit,
District and state
elections in Detroit, our voting system is proportional voting. It's based on the past election, presidential election or state election of the Secretary of State, how many votes were in your precinct. That determines the weight of your district's vote. That's what they mean by proportional voting. So if you turn out in the previous election, the weight of your district's vote is going to be a lot higher. If you don't turn out, it's going to be reduced. You understand? Everybody understand how that goes? It used to be, a lot of people used to say the system was based on distance. And so if you drove from the Upper Peninsula and you had to vote in Detroit and one person showed up and the weight of your vote was more than everybody else's, that's actually not the case. But we do have proportional voting and it's based on previous election. Okay? And that's important to know because Detroit turns out, and there are other areas that turn out Democratic votes, and they carry the weight of the party. And so, on February 11th, not only we will be electing a chairman for the party and all the statutory positions, meaning the vice chair, Chris and James, you help me out on the secretary. So you got a vice chair and a second vice chair. One has to be male, one has to be female. You have the secretary, you got the secretary, you have the treasurer, and then you have a number of auxiliary positions that also go along with on the slate. Anybody can run for any one of those positions. It's better if you want to run. It's probably better that you get on the slate as opposed to run individually. Am I correct?
I have a question. Which one are you talking about, the state or the district?
I'm talking about the state, but
Executive committee is the.
yeah, I'm talking about the state, but the congressional districts all have the same auxiliary positions as well.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. The
Yeah.
Congressional district, right.
Yeah, the congressional districts have the same auxiliary positions. You can add, after 30 days after the election, you can add more positions if you want to encourage more participation. And most congressional districts do that. Like for instance, you go to the 13th congressional district, they got they got so many additional positions. It's crazy. You know, the slate.
Raise your hand if you're a member of 13.
Yeah, you get with a slate, put your name on the slate. You'll be on the part of the decision-making process for that congressional district. You understand what I'm saying?
Now let's go to the district first, okay?
No.
You gotta go back?
Yeah.
What is the district committee?
So our congressional district conventions, we elect leaders of the congressional district that help to represent that Democratic portion of that congressional district. So you got the 13th and the 14th congressional district. Right now, we have a chair for the 14th by the name of Rick Blocker. Basically what they do is they organize Democrats, they fight and inform people on the issues, and they turn out for elections, presidential, statewide, and state elections, as well as county elections. They're a very integral part of the party. They also vote for party chair and the party state positions. And then they serve on the state central and executive committee board to make the decisions or to help make the decisions for the party. Am I missing anything? Chris, James?
Why?
Anybody have any questions so far? All right. The reason why this is important, congressional districts are important, is because one, you know, a state party can't operate on its own and actually organize in local elections. Two, well, really, this is the primary reason why these are important. Everybody knows all politics is local, right? Three, it's important because we have congressional office holders, or Democratic, who also need help pushing issues, who also need help passing resolution and making sure that the information that occurs in Washington, D.C. is also distributed and used to educate people and their constituents. The congressional districts really started off as a vehicle to help congressional officers organize their community and educate and keep their communities informed on democratic issues and what's going on in D.C.
So the 13th is John Hires.
The 13th congressional district is represented by John Conyers. The 14th is represented by Congresswoman Britta Lawrence.
The 12th.
The 12th is Debbie Dingell. The 11th is Republican. Unfortunately, we had a great guy by the name of Dr. Anil Kumar. who actually, I believe needs to be supported. And I think the only way we're really gonna win in the 11 is if we get more help from outside the 11 as well as inside the 11. You know, we gotta, as Democrats, we got to stop being so focused on our own territory and get more Democrats elected around the state. If we have more volunteers and more people helping Dr. Neil Kumar, he would have won.
Well, I think you're true, and I would put that down. You gotta take care of the home base first.
True.
So,
We gotta take care of home first. Absolutely. We gotta protect our
how
home.
do precinct
The
delegates?
question is, how do you define home?
Alright,
You're right.
how do precinct delegates play a part in the district?
Oh man, you gotta show up. Period. 80% of success is being there. If you don't show up to the meetings, you're not gonna be able to vote. Period. As a precinct delegate, though, actually, you automatically have a membership to the party. You're automatically a member. All you gotta do is show up. Fill out the application and give it to James and have him send it in to make sure that they put you down. But show up to your congressional district meeting. That's how you participate. When you show up, they give you a card. That's your voting card. Inform yourself on who your congressional district leaders are, because they need to have the will, the energy, and the knowledge to organize. Because if they don't, we're going to end up having statewide elected officials that don't get supported by their own congressional districts. I blew my mind yesterday. Blew my mind. I was in Benton Harbor, and an elected official told me that this is a problem, that the chair of the congressional district in Berrien County is racist.
And admits.
And admits to it. And admits to it. He admitted to it. Benton Harbor is a majority African American city in a county where the chairman of the Democratic Party has come out and said, I am a racist. And there are black Democrats running in Berrien County. Do you think they're going to get supported by the county party? In order to stop that, we got to show up. And in Berrien County, show out.
State Central meeting, James.
Good evening to everyone. My name is James Mitchell, and I'm a representative from the 14th Congressional District. I'm a precinct delegate in that district, along with some other duties. This coming Saturday, December 3rd, in Westland, Michigan, Grand Ballroom, Westland City Hall, is the State Central Committee meeting. That is the powerhouse of the Democratic Party. That's the ultimate decision-making party. Ultimate decision-making body within the party. And so this coming Saturday, meet every 3 months. So this is the time they're going to meet. The agenda at this point, the highlight of the meeting is they're going to elect 6 new DNC members, either re-elect or elect. And the State Central Committee members will be the ones who are voting on that. The meeting is open to everyone. It will be partitioned in a certain area, and then members will be seated in where they can actually vote. Sometimes they do it according to congressional district or whatnot.
Hold on, 2 questions. You have a question?
What time?
12:30. 12:30.
All right, it starts at 12:30. Credentialing usually starts at 10 a.m. And then at the State Central meetings, they usually have the other meetings, and the caucuses usually meet as well, right before the State Central meeting. So the Labor Caucus and MEA, the Education Caucus, both of them you normally meet right before State Central.
Vice Chair, Black.
12:30 p.m.
Black Caucus will be having breakfast.
No, you got a credential between 9 and 12. So you late, you come to 12:30 late. Okay, so what time is the meeting?
Okay, so one more time, real quick. For the State Central meeting, credentialing opens at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Okay? And you gotta get credentialed in order to vote. If you're not already a State Central delegate, you can't vote anyway.
Right.
Yep.
So you should show up at 12:30. It's open to all members of the party. It's open to the public. And you can attend, but if you're not a state central delegate, you can't vote. I think it's important for people to know what the Democratic Party and the decisions that are being made at the state central level. So show up. It's only in Westland.
Right. Don't be afraid. Folks.
You know. And if you get pulled over, call Bill Wild. He's a Democrat.
Right.
He is one too.
He really is.
He really is. He really is a Democrat. He can try to say he's a Republican, but he's really a Democrat. He really is. He got his card and everything. I took a picture of it. Believe me. I did it. So, state central. Okay, address. We're going to go back to that. Put the address back up real quick so everybody can have it. Alright, so he said something important, and I'm going to run through this real quick. He said something important. They're electing 6 new positions for what, James?
DNC.
Say it again.
The DNC committee, the national decision-making body of the National Democratic Party.
So the DNC always has members from the state, from each and every state, participating in decision-making, in the decision-making process. You have to be elected to be a DNC committee member. All right? You have to be elected by state central, and really the executive board is the governing body of the party. State central just votes on their decision. The executive board is usually made up of 12 to 20 people, mostly congressional delegates and the U.S. senator, the chairman of the party, and a few big donors. And then their decisions they make decisions. They don't make decisions for the entire party. They make decisions on where the money's going. And then state central approves that. It's voted on and approved by state central. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're saying that they're voting on Saturday for the new state central committee and also the national DNC committee members, but only state central committee members can vote on both.
It's only one position. It's the DNC National Committee members, 6 of them.
And that person can only be voted on by the
State Central Committee.
And the state central committee is having their own voting process to get on the state central committee.
No, this is the State Central Committee, and they're voting to put the 6 to fill the 6 DNC member seats.
Okay, so what is the one that you said is on one?
No, they're only voting for the DNC committee members. They're not voting for State Central Committee members.
Oh, okay, so but only state central committee members
Can vote for the DNC committee members.
Who can be on that, candidates for that DNC committee?
Anybody can be a candidate.
But you have to be nominated by a state central committee person.
Right.
That's why you want to get on the state central committee on February 4th.
Part of the state central.
You get elected by your congressional district. You get on the slate, you get elected by your congressional district.
Building a slate. So for district, you can explain the slate. Or the bill, you want to stand up and explain it? I know, but
Right, and that's why.
do you want to answer her question? Or would you like to?
February is a whole reorganization of the whole.
How do you get to be a state central delegate or alternate is the question.
Okay, so again,
How does she get to become a state central delegate or alternate?
okay. Every 2 years, there's a state convention. All of the congressional districts have to send who won the election up to the state of Michigan, Democratic Party. People usually form slates, but you don't want to run as one person, individual. You belong to a slate, slate A, slate B, slate C, slate D, whatever. All right? You get on the slate, and you get your friends to vote for you that's on the slate. If you got enemies, they still can vote for you if you go on the slate. That's how you do it. And that's why I said you're trying to get together a slate now.
It's by district.
And do you want to be on it?
What district are you in? What district are you in?
Now, don't you-
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to be on the 13th congressional district.
If you want to be on 13th, talk to him.
Talk to Bill. Did you have another question, you said?
Yeah, relate to the process, if I may. So in other words, the people that are voting on Saturday for the new people are the old people.
No. for the new DNC committee members.
Right, are the old state.
Are the current state central committee, are the current state central members, yes.
Right.
The new ones are going in February to be new people.
February is the
It's a
election
new
for
election.
the state central.
And then that committee votes on the DNC committee member. with
It votes
2 years.
on, actually, the state central
Right.
will vote on not only DNC committee members, but any other positions that need to be filled for the next 2 years, yes.
And
Right.
the DNC committee members that's elected on Saturday, how long do they serve?
4 years. Next presidential election.
So you mean to tell me that the people that are in charge now
Yep.
determine who will be on the DNC committee for the next 4 years?
No.
The
So,
national.
The national.
That's what I'm talking about for the
Some
national.
of them, yes.
That's not all of them.
No.
That's just filling the 6 vacant seats.
Right.
They're
So
just
they
filling
will
the
be
6 vacant seats. There are more DNC committee seats. I think there are 14 of them. But they're just filling the 6 vacant
The
seats.
the 6 vacancies are the ones that's coming up right
Yeah.
And that's at the national level.
Yeah, Just Thomas.
Okay, I know this may come as a surprise to a lot of folks. I've actually been an active member of the Democratic Party for over 30 years. All right.
Really? I thought you were Republican.
I didn't just run for judge, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I precinct delegate, state central committee, all that. So some of these questions, as you're presenting them, when I became active in the Michigan Democratic Party, and this is what I want to bring out. Nobody in my family had ever been active in politics, period. Who knew there was a Michigan Democratic Party that met on a regular basis and you paid dues? I think that we need to tell the precinct delegates to start there.
Yeah.
Most people are not even aware that there is an official, we hold meeting and elect people, Democratic Party. And as
Right.
precinct delegates, you need to reach out and explain to people, just because you and your family have been voting Democrat for the last 50 years, that's not all of it.
Right.
There is an actual or group that meets.
Yep.
And that you need to come to the meeting. All right, and that's how you found out, and that's how you really become a Democrat. All right, and that has not been said. How do you get on State Central? They hold district elections. And depending upon the size of the district and what have you, you get so many representatives to go to State Central. Every district doesn't get the same number of representatives.
Right.
So they may, in your district, maybe they got 7 delegates. All right, but understand, they also have 7 alternates.
Right.
The thought being, if the delegate can't go, an alternate should show up.
Right.
All right, so if you want to be a state central delegate, when they hold these elections in February, you want to run to be a delegate. You might want to run to be an alternate.
Right.
Maybe you don't want to be the delegate. Maybe you like to be an alternate. But when the votes go down at State Central, only the delegates who are supposed to represent the district, because they were elected at the district, get to vote. All right, so that's like your state rep voting for you in Lansing, because that's the person that you elected. So those are the only people that get to vote at State Central.
I told you I needed you here.
Yes, ma'am.
So the question I have and the problem that I have is with the current leadership at the congressional district level in both districts, not just one,
Okay.
both of them.
And then at the convention in February.
So if what I'm understanding you're saying, it's already written.
No, not necessarily.
No.
Not necessarily. Wait, I'm not to the woman, because some of it is.
Right.
But not totally. Not totally.
Right.
I saw how the 13th congressional district pulled that shenanigans with the leadership and coming up with the what do you want to call them, administrators or whatever you want to call them. And when it was appealed to the state level, nothing was done. Nothing was done. As a result of that, the 13th congressional district was stuck with leadership that couldn't lead
process. No, there was an appeals process, and then there was a sort of like a little hearing. They had an appeal. They went through that process, and then there was findings through that process that said that the election results were fair.
Well,
Okay, let me jump in here. So you can't go back and change the page.
Okay.
Let's talk about what's gonna go forward.
okay, what I'm saying is that you're saying it's just partially set up because.
By whoever was more organized.
Okay, but when you
By
have,
whoever was more
when
organized.
you have the dean of the Congress backing certain folks.
Never did. He always, he votes for everybody.
No,
But
He backed this.
But that doesn't
He
mean
had one vote.
that person's team was the best organized.
That's right.
Whoever starts early,
Yeah,
makes the most phone calls,
yeah.
get their people to turn out,
Mm-hmm.
and when the election is held, just like any other election, because everything I said works for any other election, those are the folks that win.
But that's why we're holding this meeting today.
To get started. So real quick,
Right.
I don't want to break this fire up, but I got to real quick because we all know I want to get back to question and answer, but I want to run through some real quick announcements real quick, so we can get through that.
John has an announcement first.
Go ahead, Donald.
So, well, that announcement actually goes right off what we were just saying. The State Central Committee meeting this Saturday, like I said, they're going to be picking the people going to the DNC at the national level. Those people are going to be the ones who pick the DNC chair, who's going to be in charge of the entire federal party for the next, I believe it's 4 years. There's going to be a group of us being led by the Young Democrats caucus, but several of the other caucuses have already said they are going to be there to support it too, to rally at the meeting in Westland to support Keith Ellison as the pick in February for DNC chair. The reason for that is, honestly, it's probably going to be an easy win, and after the hell of the election a couple of weeks ago, everybody needs a victory. I mean, the only other serious candidates I've heard that are running is Martin O'Malley and Howard Dean. I just don't see any major grassroots support coming out of
The
this.
guy in Ohio. The guy in Ohio. It's a guy in Ohio.
Oh, he's running for chair of the party against Nancy Pelosi's now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
But the people that we
we'll
put
talk about
on
Keith Ellison.
are the ones
more
that
about
vote for
He's actually from Detroit. Keith Ellison is actually from Detroit, grew up in Detroit politics, used to work for state senators and state reps here in Detroit. This is where he got his training. Right? And I think we need to support our own. Yes, ma'am.
James has an update from the Mighty 14.
So again, on behalf of this gentleman here, Chairman Rick Blocker from the 14th Congressional District, he brings you thanks for your activity, even though we didn't get the victory won, and appreciation, and big update that we want to talk to you about at this point is that we're having our Christmas party coming up on the second Saturday in December, December 10th, downtown at Fishbones downtown. So it's at 11 a.m., open to all, especially those who are precinct delegates in the 14th Congressional District. We would like you to be a part of it. I also talked with the chairman today. We are going to, I asked him if this time around district conventions are going to be done in the same location as they did, 2 years ago, where they did the state convention and the district convention. So I think they are going to be all together. And that's coming up, either the first, the 11th in February. So that's where we are right now. We may also do a canned good drive. We did that last year. So if you plan on coming, just bring a canned good for us. We'll take it and deliver it to one of the local food banks.
When is the next 14th Congressional District meeting?
Next, after the Christmas party, second Saturday in January. It's probably going to be on the east side. We always do in our district. We do the first 2 months of every year. We do on the east side, so it may be at the Rose Point War Memorial, or it might be at the WC3D University Center in Harbor Woods. Then the following 2 months, March and April, will Oakland County because our district is cut between 2 different counties. So typically we'll do Oak Park or Southfield. We've done Farmington Hills, we've done Pontiac. So we moved in 14th, we moved the meetings around to engender support from all of the members, residents, precinct delegates that are in the 14th.
All right. Sounds good.
Alexis is gonna talk about the 13th Christmas party.
Okay, so the 13th Congressional District is actually having their Christmas party on the same day, which is December 10th, but it's going to be from 6 to 10 p.m. And it will be held at 600 West Lafayette, which is, I believe, Aspen downtown. And of course, it's Councilman John Conyers, which is our congressman, and Jonathan Kinlock is our district chair. So.
Okay, so
When is the next 13th Congressional District meeting?
Well, our meetings are held basically the same time the 14th meetings are held. It was just changed over, so we have our meeting every second Saturday of the month. 10 o'clock is the executive board meeting, 11 o'clock is the actual general membership meeting. So it's the second Saturday of every month over at local 600 in Dearborn.
All right.
So
everybody,
for announcements, then you can do the question.
right. Everybody here likes politics. Anybody watching MSNBC, CNN, listen to NPR? Okay. Has anybody seen this young lady, Angela Rye? Former executive director to the Congressional Black Caucus? Well, we're bringing her here on December 15th when we honor Bruce, DeVille, and others. Judge Deborah Thomas, of course, will be honored, and hopefully Grayson might. What's that?
Y'all ain't tell me.
Well, I know it's supposed to be a surprise, but
Told me I was MC.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
We didn't know.
It's supposed to be a surprise. Surprise! You still act surprised that day.
We all want to take a picture, please?
Yeah, we need a picture of you.
Got
Pontiac Councilman Kermit Williams,
picture.
Ann Arbor School Board member Simone Lightfoot, Al Garrett, who's retiring from ASPE, will also be there. He's not having a retirement party. He's always treating this like his retirement party. So come on out, and I mean, he's a big giant in labor, and he's been tremendous for African Americans in labor. So he needs to be celebrated, honored, and held up to a high.
He's been a big activist, supporter in the Michigan Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Period. Yes.
And he has put his money where his mouth.
Absolutely. So we need to support him in his retirement. Okay, and then we're doing a leadership forum, a tour around the state in most African American cities around the state: Benton Harbor, Muskegon, Flint, Grand Rapids, Pontiac, Saginaw, Kalamazoo. Of course, Detroit. We'll be doing one in Detroit in January. We're going to try and get them all in before February 11th. The reason why we're doing this, one, is to talk about what's next, talk about the issues, and we all know politics is local. All politics is local. So we're having issues here in Detroit. Benton Harbor might be having the same issues or something different that we can all organize around. Muskegon got some issues that Benton Harbor might not be having, but we can all organize around some of those issues together, right? And so we're going to spend some time, not only that, but Benton Harbor got a black African-American mayor. Muskegon has a huge, a great Democratic, they got a phenomenal Democratic organizing structure in Muskegon. Well, it's not that phenomenal. They got some great, but they got some great people that do some great turnout.
They have a phenomenal organization that is nonpartisan in its report. The bulk of the leadership of which are members of the Democratic Party carrying powers.
There you go. Of course, Grand Rapids, Paul Mayhew is in Grand Rapids, former county commissioner. We've been working with him for a long time. He's also going to be honored on the 15th. So we're doing this tour. We would love for everybody to be a part of it. We're involving Democratic elected officials from all over the state in each one of these cities. Next, we got the Big Red Sack. We're doing a toy drive, Coke, and donation on December 17th at the Blue Star.
Okay, so drop-off started today. So if you can't attend, drop off posts, toys, donations. It started third annual. It started to just where I used to pick 5 kids to just buy them toys, and then the next year it grew. So this year we have 50 kids. And so we're getting toys and coats, and then we're getting to them, and they're happy and they're smiling. So that's the big red flag.
Participate if you can.
I will email this out to you guys.
Yeah, everybody gets this in the email if you signed in. Make sure you signed in if you have it. African American Leadership Awards, February. It'll be after the convention, last Thursday in February at the Ford Convention Center. This will be the 4th annual every year. This is a big deal, and we usually are unable to accommodate everybody's seating. So we moved to another venue. We got more seats now for everybody. Then we're gonna have dinner this year. We're gonna have a phenomenal keynote speaker. I'm gonna save that for later as an announcement. But believe me, you're gonna want to be there. Next.
And you can do question and answer.
All right. So now, real quickly before we do question and answer, there was one committee. I got you coming. There was one thing that I forgot to mention, and that's the rules committee and the credentialing committee. Those committees are actually elected prior to the convention. The rules committee and the credentialing committee. The credentialing committee basically sets up the engagement for credentialing. They put the rules of engagement in for who can and cannot be credentialed as a member. The rules committee sets the rules for the election, for the convention. Am I correct, Ben?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody served on the rules committee or the credentialing committee? Those are 2 very important committees. I can remember one time, there was a young man. He's passed away. I know his shoes will never be filled, but believe me, this guy was a giant. His name is Ron Scott. He went to run for chair of the party. And we didn't have control of the rules committee, did we? Guess the rules committee did. He went to run for chair, and they told him, when he showed up at the convention, well, in order to run for chair, you got to give us $20,000. Seriously, that actually happened. Nabil, didn't that happen? That actually happened.
That's what I say, and sometimes it's real. That's
Yeah, but you won't see that nowhere in the bylaws.
Right.
Nowhere.
That's gangster.
That's gangster.
Yeah.
That's hard proof. So, but that's why it's important to have progressive-minded people with integrity on the rules committee.
Yep.
She had her hand up first. I'm sorry, Mom, because I love your hair. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make an announcement.
Go ahead, make it
If
announcement.
I may, I would like everybody to set their calendar for December 10th. It'll be a very busy day for us if we hit everything. But ours is a breakfast. It's called a Courage Now Leaders Summit from 9 a.m. to 12:30-ish. And what we're doing, we're calling a meeting of all leaders of organizations, whatever that's involved with civic engagement, to get together and find our resources, and then we'll come out with a unified plan, because everybody talks about how we going to need to get together. This is how. It's from the group that we formed for the last year and a half called We Voted Now What, LLC. So we need to find out a way how we can support each other, what exactly is going on, so there's no duplication in efforts. And we can all act as a collective body. It'll be a clearinghouse for activities, filtering out the riffraff, and channeling and supporting each other by whatever resources, by any means necessary. That's December the 10th from 9 o'clock to 12:30, tentatively set at St. Philip's Church on West Granville, East Granville Park.
And part of the reason why this group is so powerful is because we have collective action. And so we support each other. And there is nothing more important and more powerful than collective action, in a body of people moving together. And so that's what this group is going to be about. Real quick, I got, did anybody have any questions? Real quick, I got a question. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, I want to know, is there any way that you can send through an email the structure that you briefly talked about today? And I think it would be helpful in the future that, the literature that you want to discuss, you have it in print, so that if people wanna go back to it and think about it, then they can refer back to something, because it's not necessarily going to stick just because you said it 2 or 3 times.
You know what? I'm be honest. I apologize for not having paper. Yeah, I got this dear friend of mine. She's phenomenal. She works hard. She put this PowerPoint together. Her name is Shauna, and I had her working yesterday in Benton Harbor, so she didn't get a chance to really get the. So that's my fault. That's my fault. Blame it on me. But next time we don't have the paperwork for you.
I became a secretary yesterday and didn't know I was going to be one for him.
Yes.
I have one thing really quick. Anyone in this room is in District 13. If you would be interested in being part of the disability committee for our district, my fiance, who unfortunately had to work and couldn't make it tonight, was appointed at our last district meeting to head it up. We would please get with me after the meeting. We'd love to have him help you get it.
Right on. That's being active. Somebody else back here had a question. Nobody? All right. Real quick. So the convention is in February. Right. And we are electing a new chair. Is anybody happy with the current chair?
No.
Oh, you mean the state chair?
No.
I'm just asking.
As precinct delegates, we have to think about this.
Yeah, because everybody, y'all all got to vote. So if anybody got any ideas on who you think should run, if you want to support the current chair, I'm just asking. I'm not saying nobody point fingers.
Well, we have to talk about it.
What'd you say? No. I don't want to run for chair party. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Anybody have any ideas, Mayfield? Or do you love the current chair?
Yeah.
I'd just like to ask, is the only thing I really know about our current chair is he's the guy who sends me donation emails a couple of times a month. What exactly is the deal with him? Because I've heard a lot of people pretty much saying we need to throw him out, but I haven't been around long enough to know what the situation is.
It's his first 2 years. He's out of Grand Rapids. He used to be a state rep, and I think that to be honest with you, from my standpoint, from what I've seen, I don't really. I think that we can do better. I think we can do better. I think we can do better. I do. I think we can do better.
Okay, can I interject a little bit?
Yes, you can.
Having my, state campaign. He was somewhat selected to fill the second year of the 2-year term when Lon Johnson resigned in order to run for Congress in the 1st district. And so they were kind of scrambling, looking for someone who wanted to complete this 1-year term. I believe his position, the current chair, was term delegate. Yeah. The other issue so he was approached, more or less, to fill that 1-year term. He had no experience necessarily in that capacity, but because he had served in Lansing for a number of years, they felt that he had connections across the state. The thought was that he was supposed to be able to raise money for the party. I don't know how being out of Grand Rapids and raise money for the party was supposed to combine his thought process, but he did. Was not quite successful in raising money for the party. As a chair, without experience, he did about as well as could be expected. I saw some more open-mindedness than I did running under the other 2 prior chairs. And I saw a bit more honesty than I did under having run under the 2 prior chairs. I don't know if he intends on running for the position again. I haven't talked to him about it. just by way of just background, how he ended up where he is, and what kind of job he was able to do, from how he got where he is. I'm not endorsing him, I'm not knocking him, I'm just giving his.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the alternatives?
Well, as of right now, there aren't too many people that are jumping up and running. You know, there are some people's names that are being floated out there. Judge, you want to mention that one?
Ooh, you know what that one, we talking about today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, rumor has it, because I have talked to this person, rumor has it. Okay, that, Precinct Delegate has expressed an interest. Another name that has been questioned is, over in Wayne State University, Law School.
We used to ran for Secretary of State, Johnson Benson.
Johnson and Benson. That name is on the streets too.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I have heard.
But nobody has made anything official. Nobody has sent out any official communication. But you know, I know that I've heard and seen Johnson resurface, and I've heard Godfrey express interest. So.
And the thing with running for chair, most folks don't think about it until after the election, and then you got the election come February. But it is a statewide party election, so if that's something you're interested in, you ought to be at all of the district party meetings prior to introduce yourself.
Right.
And to try to garner the support in order to be successful.
Right.
It is a paid position.
It is, and actually the pay increased under the last chairman. It's over $120,000. You trying to run for chair now? He was like, whoa, how you run that? Sign me up. So look, there are some rules and regulations. Of course, you got to be a member of the party. Of course, you have to be active as a member of the party, and they want you to attend a certain amount of meetings and stuff like that. But then, outside of that, it's about the grind of getting people on your side. You know, I have not seen a chair win recently that did not have the entire congressional delegation behind it. I have not seen a chair win recently that did not have UAW supporting it. So, you halfway there.
I'm already the chairman also, just the guy back the chairman from union also.
Hey man, so when you run and you win, man, just, you know, you hire a good executive director, right? That's all
The questions that they're going to look at are going to be your ability to raise money for the party.
Yeah.
Therefore, you know, they're looking for you to have some kind of contact base where you can go to folks and don't write checks for $10,000 at a time. And then they're going to be looking for someone who has organizational skills in terms of trying to get the districts to work together on something, and has the time, effort, and tolerance to go all over the state and attend some of these meetings.
And then attend the DNC meetings every couple of months too, out of state. You have to be a part of that too. As chairman, you're automatically put as a member of the DNC, and they put you on different boards and committees to participate in the decision-making process as a chairperson.
I'm on the executive board also too.
Man, you sound like you get a job.
That's
all right. All right, so, and you'll see, if you show up to State Central this Saturday, I guarantee you there'll be people there trying to
Kick in.
right. Just trying to get to know people, whether they're running for a vice chair position or a secretary position or the chairman. And so, you know, I think that the times that we are in right now for the Democratic Party are extremely critical. You know, there's a move to diversify the party around the country, and in the state of Michigan, there is a move to really get ours together. Literally get ours together. And so it's incumbent upon us as Democrats to not give up and not back out and back down, but lean into our values and work for the next 2 years. Lean into our values and not be scared of our values as Democrats. It's not time to become Republicans.
Can I throw this out?
Yes, that's go ahead.
Some of it, I feel an obligation to say, based on the uniqueness of my experience. All right? I have run statewide at least 3 or 4 times. So many times I've lost count. But in the process, I have come to know people statewide, and we have developed relationships. I go see these folks in years I'm not running, and we do things that have nothing to do with politics. All right, we have become what is known as friends before Facebook. After the election, when I have talked to a number of these folks across the state, the unilateral response has been, and we need to know this if we're going to build up and decide what we're going to do as a party. Okay, they lost, they deserve what they got. And this is coming from active, long-term, African-American, local, Democratic people across the state.
Even some elected officials.
Even some elected officials. How are you, if everybody is saying this in a conversation, this is not a conference call. I'm just calling folks and they just call me, how you doing, girl, whatever. How do you get that many leaders, long term, in your organization, from one segment of your population, who constantly and consistently say, they deserve what they got. I don't feel sorry for them. That means that innately, you do not view yourself as a member of the group. Right. All right? And the second comment that comes through is, I'm through with it. I've had enough. I'm done. I'm done. Now, and then you go to a meeting, and when you get to the meeting, the first thing they say, when you hear is, well, maybe we ought to act more like the Republicans. All right, well, that sure helped to bridge that gap. But you have a right, I think, to know that the African-American leadership that has been active with the Democratic Party over a term of years, some who've had elected positions and maybe don't have them now, some of them who are currently in elected positions, are saying individually, but collectively, Democratic Party ain't done nothing for black folks, no way. We haven't had a statewide elected official since Austin. My children don't even know who Dick Austin are. So why do I keep messing with the Michigan Democratic Party? Now, you got the information. What you decide to do with it is your business. Which doesn't sound well since I'm a member of the party.
I was going to say
I
she's still a party.
I say amen.
Yeah, amen. So, but I echo what she's saying. I hear that sentiment. I feel it actually from a lot of people too. And I think that, that's prime time for what's next. And we need to get ours together. Because if we don't, we're going to keep losing. I mean, we don't have the Supreme Court. We ain't got the governor's office. We ain't got the presidency. We ain't got the House. We ain't got the Senate. We ain't got the Secretary of State. We ain't got the Attorney General. What we got?
We got 2 congressional leaders. All right, and I don't know how much longer that will.
And we just lost.
Because they just redistricted.
And we just lost the Board of Education.
We got nothing.
Just lost the board.
And even though I had said that tonight, if you look around the room, there's only 3 representatives that can go back and say the word. Cause I'm talking to the choir.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the choir. But the problem is, the leadership of the Michigan Democratic Party, we don't have any input there either. We look at it for what it is. So if the leadership is not representative, they're not hearing the message, the activity is not going to change. And black folks started out voting Republican. And it's been about, what, 60 years? So there's nothing to say that history will not repeat itself and it won't be cited. Or not vote at all. And if they don't vote at all, that's equivalent to voting Republican.
Absolutely. Enough said.
Somebody needs to carry the message. Don't listen to me to do it because they don't listen to me. Don't pay me no money.
So, let's give Judge Deborah Thomas a round of applause.
No, you didn't.
I love you, Judge.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, queries, concerns? All right, let's give Shauna Gill a round of applause for another great The next meeting is,
It'll be next Tuesday, that will be a class.
next class is next week Tuesday.
What are we talking about, Tashana?
A lot of people. I'll tell you what everybody wants to do about it.
So you'll receive an email with the flyers from today and the paperwork from today.